Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into AI-powered research today.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Really fascinating, especially how generative AI could, well, maybe even rewrite the rules of scholarship.
Absolutely. And it's more than just, making things faster.
Right, like it's not just about speeding up how we do.
It's really about reimagining, like from the ground up, how we think about research, what it even means.
Totally. And you sent over some really interesting research on this. There's an article, From Scarcity to Abundance, Scholars and Scholarship in an Age of Generative Artificial Intelligence.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really makes you think, even just the title. But okay, before we get too deep, what exactly is generative AI? For those who, haven't already been sucked into the AI vortex.
Basically, think of it like this. Generative AI can make new stuff, text, images, all sorts of content that looks like a human made it, not a machine.
So like those AI art generators, but for research papers now.
Kind of, but think bigger picture. This isn't just about writing papers. It could impact every single step of how research is done.
You're right. The article broke it down into 4 stages: synthesis, development, evaluation, and translation.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
And each one is going to be totally upended by this tech, right?
Potentially, yeah. Like take knowledge synthesis, the first stage. Imagine you're researching, right? No more spending hours and hours going through tons of papers. Instead, AI digs through that mountain of data for you.
That's what I'm talking about. No more all-nighters just trying to find the research, let alone analyze it.
Exactly. AI finds what's relevant in like a fraction of the time.
That would free up so much time for, well, actual research, right?
Think about it. You could uncover all these hidden patterns, the connections we might miss.
Okay, so it's not just speed. It's like having an extra brain or 100 combing through the data for those aha moments.
And that's just the first stage. Then there's knowledge development, how we actually do research.
So what, AI is going to start designing our studies for us?
Well, it could help. Imagine AI collaborating with researchers in real time to design studies, analyze the data, even point out flaws.
Wait, so it's like having a superpowered research assistant, but one that actually knows what it's doing.
It could totally change the pace of discovery, maybe even create an instant research paradigm.
Instant research paradigm. Sounds impressive, but a little scary, to be honest.
There are definitely big questions about how this will change things.
Like, what happens to the scientific method in all of this? It still has to be rigorous, right?
Absolutely. We can't just throw rigor out the window because things are faster. But that's the challenge, isn't it? Balancing speed with quality.
Which brings us to, was it knowledge evaluation? How do we make sure all this AI-generated research is actually any good? Peer review is already a beast.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine AI helping editors and reviewers, catching inconsistencies, bias, even just bad research instantly.
Like having a superpowered fact checker on speed dial.
It could make peer review way more robust, more efficient. That's the hope anyway.
It sounds amazing, but at the same time, can we rely on it too much?
Yeah.
What about human judgment?
It's about finding the right balance, using AI to enhance what we do, not replace us entirely.
Okay, that makes sense. Last one, knowledge translation.
Right, because it's not enough to just do the research. You have to communicate it, make people care.
And in a world with even more information than ever, that's going to be tough, right?
Exactly, but imagine AI helps translate that complex research, makes it easy for anyone to understand. Policymakers, the public, everyone.
It's like having a built-in TR team for science.
In a way, yeah. It could really change how research reaches the world.
It all sounds amazing in theory, but come on, there have to be downsides, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect, especially when you're talking about something as powerful as AI.
Oh, absolutely. And the article brings up some really important concerns. One of the big ones is what they call the black box problem.
Okay, I've heard of that, but remind me, what's that again?
So basically, it means we don't always know how AI gets its results, like the steps it took.
So we could get this amazing research finding, but have no idea if it's actually legit.
That's the worry, right? Without transparency, it's hard to trust the findings, build on them.
It's like, I don't know, imagine you're a doctor and AI says, give this patient this drug, but you have no idea how it arrived at that decision.
Exactly. High stakes. You need that transparency to trust the process, especially for something like medical decisions.
Makes sense. So lack of transparency, check. What else? What other risks are we talking about here?
Well, there's also the issue of context, nuance. AI can generate text that's technically perfect.
Grammarly's dream, right?
Right, but it might totally miss the subtleties of a field, the latest research, all of that.
It's like knowing all the words, but not understanding the story.
Yes. And that leads to another risk, AI hallucinations.
Wait, hallucinations? Like the AI is seeing things?
Not literally, but it means AI can make stuff up, fabricate facts in its quest to create content.
And that's not ideal for research, to say the least.
It's a huge problem. Imagine an AI generating a paper with fake data, fake citations, the whole 9 yards.
And someone takes that research seriously because, hey, an AI made it, it must be right.
Exactly, and that misinformation spreads, and who knows what the consequences could be.
Okay, that's getting a little too Black Mirror for me.
It's a real concern, and then on top of that, you have the potential for misuse, what they call deepfakes.
Deepfakes, those are the videos where, like, you make someone look like they're saying something they never did, right?
Right, but now imagine that, but with research data, fabricating results, even whole papers.
So it's not just that AI could make mistakes. Someone could intentionally use it to mislead people, discredit real research.
Exactly, and that's why people are talking about safeguards, ethical guidelines, all of that.
Because we can't just throw this powerful tech out there without some rules.
Right. And it's not just about preventing bad stuff. There's also the question of how over-reliance on AI could affect peer review, the whole system.
Because even with good intentions, it could go wrong, right?
Absolutely. Like, what if reviewers start relying too much on AI to evaluate research? What if they miss something that AI didn't catch?
Or even scarier, what if the AI is biased in some way we don't understand? And suddenly it's favoring certain types of research over others.
It's a lot to consider. We can't just assume AI will be objective, unbiased. We have to be really thoughtful about how we use it.
It feels like the role of being a scholar, a researcher, it's about to change drastically.
For sure. And the article talks about that, how it impacts what it even means to be a scholar in this new world. They actually use scenario planning to try and map it out.
Okay, so walk me through these scenarios. What are the possibilities here?
So they focus on two main things. Systems transparency, meaning how much we understand about how the AI works, and societal regulation, so how governments control AI development.
Got it. So how transparent is the AI and how much control do we have over it?
Right, and based on that, they came up with 4 possible scenarios. First one is low transparency, low regulation.
So basically the Wild West of AI research. Everyone's using it, but no one really knows what's going on under the hood.
Pretty much. It could lead to a lot of mistrust in research if we don't understand how the AI is working, like how can you trust the results?
And what does that mean for researchers, for scholars? How do they prove their worth in that kind of world?
Right, they'd need to really up their game in terms of critical thinking, being able to spot errors, biases, basically becoming the human BS detectors in a sea of AI-generated content.
So it's not just about doing research, it's about verifying it, contextualizing it, being the trusted voice.
Exactly. Okay, second scenario. High transparency, but still low regulation.
So we can see how the AI works, which is good, but there are no real rules about how to use it.
And that could lead to an explosion of AI-generated research, some good, some bad, and it might be hard to tell the difference.
It's like the democratization of knowledge, but with a side of potential chaos.
Right. It's like giving everyone a printing press, but no one knows how to edit or fact check. The potential is huge, but so are the risks.
Okay, 2 down, 2 to go. What's the next scenario?
High regulation, but this time low transparency. So, we've got rules, but we don't necessarily know what we're regulating.
That feels a little backwards, doesn't it?
No.
Like, how can you have rules for something you don't understand?
It's definitely tricky. It could make people more hesitant to use AI because there's so much uncertainty, fear of breaking some rule they don't even know about.
But it could also lead to a more cautious approach, right? More focus on ethics, on really understanding the potential consequences.
For sure. And it could push us towards more human-AI collaboration, working together instead of one replacing the other.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, last scenario. Lay it on me.
All right, so this is the ideal one. High transparency, high regulation, we understand the AI, and we've got the rules in place to make sure it's used responsibly.
The best of both worlds, hopefully.
Exactly, but the question is, can we get there? And what happens if we do? How does that change the research landscape?
So, which is it? Are we doomed? Or is there a silver lining? What's this hopeful message about human scholars? Because it's easy to think, oh no, the robots are coming for our jobs.
It's a common fear, right? But what the article really highlights is As AI gets better at generating knowledge, our human ability to make sense of it all, that becomes even more valuable.
So it's not just about the raw information, it's about what we do with it.
Exactly. The synthesis, the critical thinking, the ethical considerations, that's where human scholars come in.
Because AI might be able to spit out facts, but it doesn't understand the nuances, the context, the bigger picture.
And let's be honest, it can't ask those really big, messy questions, the ones that keep us up at night. The ethical dilemmas, the unintended consequences, those require human intuition, wisdom.
So it's almost like instead of being replaced, scholars become these, philosophical guides, helping us navigate this world where knowledge is being created at warp speed.
I like that, philosophical guides, because it's not just about finding the answers, it's about asking the right questions, challenging assumptions, making sure knowledge is used for good.
It's a very different role, but no less important, maybe even more so.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to that question the authors ask. In a world awash in AI-generated knowledge, what unique value will you bring to the table?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves, not just academics.
Right. What makes you unique? What can you offer that an AI can't?
It's about finding that intersection of human ingenuity and technological power.
Because it's not humans versus AI. It's about figuring out how to work together to shape a future where both can thrive.
I love that. Well, this has been an incredible conversation, eye-opening, thought-provoking, a little bit scary, but ultimately hopeful.
I agree.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Always happy to geek out about the future of research.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep those brains buzzing, keep asking those big questions, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.